Hey friends, it's Jill here with the Hometown Homestead, and we are in the first week of our 2023-24 school year around our house. Now I know it's a little early for some, but because the weather's so hot, we decided to jump on in, take advantage of the full garden, and study botany through the summer. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. But today what I want to talk to you about is how we use digital curriculums in our house, how we bind everything together, which is definitely something that has evolved for me over time. I used to have a binding machine and laminate the covers and spend time doing all the things. But now, as we've streamlined processes in our house, I've really modified that system and it's been so much easier for us. So if you're looking for an easy way to utilize digital curriculum, plus how to keep it easily all together for one child in one notebook, hang out because I think something here will be interesting to you. For our family, there were a few main reasons that we went with digital curriculum. One was I hate having a huge stack of all of these books sitting around. Now I do still have, of course, several of the actual manuals, teacher's manuals that I'll be using simply because we've already purchased them in this format. But going forward, all of my teacher's manuals will also be digital just so I can easily access them and I won't have stacks and stacks of books sitting around to be used. Now there is a downside to this. That is that you cannot sell your digital curriculum options. But for me, by the time I get done using them with 5 kids, I'm fine just not having to deal with the clutter over the decade or so that they would be sitting around my house, and that's an easy price to pay. For my kiddos, I like to keep everything really streamlined, and I don't like a bunch of books all over the house. So what I decided to do, instead of binding an individual book for math and an individual book for all of our other subjects, is we went ahead and we moved to these 5-star note binders. And I have talked about them before, but I wanted to show you exactly how we put it together and all the fun that goes along with it. So this is our rising kindergarten girl. She is so excited to have her own book officially after watching her brothers have their own for years. So now it's her turn and we went ahead and put this together. And as you can see, she wants to sit and watch every page print out and also loves helping me punch the holes. Now I used to have a ProClick binding system where I popped all the holes and put in the spines, laminated the covers and all of that. Once I realized how easy the Notebinder made all of this, I sold that thing really fast, got rid of all the spines, and now we keep everything in one book. So for our first subject here with her, we have our Math with Confidence kindergarten level program, and then right behind it is all of her worksheets. Now I don't print out the entire book at one time. I just print probably 20 or 30 pages, and then when we get to the end, this goes through week 10. But when we get to the end, I will just print out a subsequent set and take these out and put them in another spot. This allows me to only print for a few minutes at a time, number one. Number two, it doesn't put a whole book in jeopardy of like a whole year's worth of printing if a drink were to get spilled on it or something of that sort. And then also it allows us to just keep moving and keep the book thin enough to where we can put all of the subjects in one. The second thing that I have in here, which I've started and stopped before with one of my older kiddos, is the Gather Around Burrows and Holes program. This is the Ready to Read set. This little girl specifically really loves to do all of the reading and stuff that goes along with these. We went through their letters and numbers program. So I'm adding this in addition to the Logic of English that I normally do at this stage. Now, moving back, like I said, Logic of English, still all in this book. So if we're going on the road and we're doing school as we go, they can each grab their one book and be ready to go with all of their subjects. I could grab my laptop and have all of my teacher's guides with the exception of this one because everything else I have in digital format this year. And I'll see how that works. I mean, quite honestly, by the end of the year, I might decide it's worth getting a digital version of the kindergarten teacher's manual just so I have the ease of packing up my laptop to go and having them grab their books. There will be times during the year when we'll take school on the road, we'll, go read in the library, or we will head out to the park, just various places that we like to go. And I like to be able to not pack a big, huge haul of things to get it done. So for us to get up and go, it would be my laptop plus 3 kids would each grab their own book. And then of course we do have little sister who wants to grab along as well, but we'll just give her whatever she'd like. She'll pick a notebook and some pencils. Now, as far as my own stuff, I have my own book in the same vein as well. Last year I used this for our Math with Confidence program, that pilot program that we did for grade 4. And I will be printing out some of the sections as well, only because I'm taking notes on them as we go to fill in our feedback forms for the program itself. Otherwise, I'm not going to be printing out teacher's guides to put in here. That said, one thing I do have in here that I am printing myself instead of buying these days is my teacher planner, which also is keeping track of our attendance logs and things of that sort. So this one is the Gather Round Teacher Planner. I had been buying Erin Condren planners and I love them. And I did just see that she came out with a new homeschool planner, but I really like the option to just print any page that I need again. And I'll show you what I'm doing with that. I'm doing that with the attendance tracker because I'm actually going to use that to chart our hours. So I haven't filled in this week yet, but I have one kid here and one kid here, and I have it divided down the middle. So this will be July and August for one child, July and August for the second child. I only have 2 that are record keeping age right now, but when I get into 3, 4, and 5, I'll just be able to print this one page that I've already purchased multiple times, and then down at the bottom, run their totals for the month as well as for the year and keep those all together. So for me, the flexibility of being able to print this stuff out anytime I want it or need it or want to make a change, or it gets a little water on it and I don't like the way it looks, is really important to our flexibility. And just having everybody with one book and one planner makes it all easy in one little spot. So what are our must-haves to go ahead and do this method as opposed to something else? One, I would say number one, besides the 5-star Notebinder, which I really love, a good 3-hole punch. And this is a Boss Stitch, and I actually got it on Amazon. I'll link that for you down below, but it can do 40 sheets at one time. And I'm never printing more than 40 sheets at one time for their individual subjects. Now, if I were to, of course, you can just take half the pages and punch them and then go half the pages again. But it does it all at once. It has a really efficient way of lining all the pages up at the top to make sure all the holes are in the same spot. And it has just been invaluable. And the kids can do it themselves. Another thing that is really important when you're printing your own curriculums, also obviously, I should say, an awesome printer. And we use the Epson Inkotake. I've literally printed thousands of pages over the past 3 years, and I've refilled the ink one time. And it really isn't that expensive to refill the ink when you're using an Inkotake system. Now, you've seen prints that I've just showed you. They are not as good as if I had ordered them directly from our printer, but they are really good. Good enough to where, unless they're side by side, my kids aren't wondering why their page isn't quite so vibrant, because it's all they've ever seen, number one. But 2, it actually has a really good quality. The one thing I will say about your printer that most people don't understand and how it impacts quality is the paper that you're using is super critical. So not only does it, sorry, that's really loud. Not only does it impact the quality of your print, but it also impacts the number of times your paper jams. Now, right now, I am using Hammermill Premium Multi-Purpose Paper. This is 24-pound paper, and it's been really good. It says 99.99% jam-free down at the bottom. I'll say that's actually true. And when I buy cheaper paper, it always ends up costing me in delayed print and issues with the printer. Now, the last time I went to order the paper I truly loved, it was actually out, but I have a little bit left over here. This will give you, this one gives you a more vibrant print. This is the Hammermill 28-pound color. So it's made specifically to print color pages on, and the vibrancy on those just turns out a little bit better. It still has a super efficient jam rate. The higher qualities are always going to prevent that. I don't have any issues with this one or the other quality. I love Hammermill paper, and I would say spend the money on it every time. I just looked at Amazon during Prime Day to see if there was any deals, and it wasn't on sale, but it's like 55 bucks for a whole ream of paper, which is going to last you for a very long time, especially the way we use it around here. I get like a year and a half out of it. And now that I'm not printing my own copies as much, I'll be able to get a couple years out of one box of paper. And when you're considering or comparing that to the cost of buying printed versions, it's really efficient considering all-in cost of paper and ink in comparison to what I would spend to buy these for all of my children over the years of their use. If you just have one child, digital isn't quite as efficient for you, probably cost-wise. But if you have more than one, and our house has 5, we will definitely save tons of money by going with a digital option over the printed versions. Other supplies that I consider most critical, my Ticonderoga pencils. I love these. These are the ones that you usually see in yellow. I like all black. I like to keep it simple around here and clean. And so I get the all black pencils. They come with great erasers on them. But then once they get worn off, we add these pink Papermate erasers. And I got a whole box of those also off Amazon at one point. And this pencil alone has been in use around here for quite a while. I'd say probably 6 months or so. And we have added the eraser to it, but they're still great. I love these pencils because they stay sharp. They don't have some kind of printed plasticky coating on the outside to get caught in your pencil sharpener. And they're not like the lead just doesn't break in the same way that it does from a cheaper pencil. So do yourself a favor and buy a good pencil. We also have a great pencil sharpener, electric, to go with it. So those are really important. The other things that I keep this little mason jar by our water filter, actually, right back here, because we pull it out all the time for school stuff. A pair of scissors for my little ready-to-read girl, a glue stick because she uses that all the time, a pencil. Then there's some dice, which are coming in really handy with our math curriculum. We use those a lot for my older kiddos when they're playing games with Math with Confidence. And then there's some money down in there too. At my house, money is our counters. I don't buy counters to have the pieces all over the house because it's one more thing to pick up, and we can learn the values of coins easier that way when they're always out in front of us. So for us in our house personally, digital curriculum is the way to go. Not only because it saves me money by using the same stuff and not having to rebuy for every single child, but also because of the ease of taking one book, putting it all together, and not having to chase down a whole bunch of books over the house. My minimalist tendencies really come through on this one. I just don't like the clutter, and I don't like them looking for a book. One child has a red book, one child has a blue book, and one has a purple book. And that's just easy for everybody to go find what they need to be ready for school. So I hope this has answered your questions and shown you exactly how we do our binding system in our notebooks. If you're interested in anything homemade, homegrown, or homeschooled, make sure to subscribe to my page because you never know what's going to be coming out next. I thank you all for stopping by. I hope you have a fabulous school year. And if you have any questions, make sure to leave them below. Have a great day, friends, and I'll see you back soon.